I'm Diana Felzone, and this is 4 for 4 SciTech. Today was the big announcement for Apple's new improved iPad. Do you think it will be awesome, James?
It's going to be good. You know, it wasn't the main event today. We didn't get to see the bigger iPad that everyone was talking about, but we got some nice features. You know, we got the Touch ID on there. You know, Apple's trying to do a lot more stuff around mobile payments, and I think that that's going to be key for them moving forward.
Okay.
I think the big problem here is, why do you need an iPad? I find that Apple is having a hard time making a compelling argument for that. I mean, if you have a laptop and you have an iPhone, it just doesn't really serve an extra purpose, in my view.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point. You know, I often call mine the world's most expensive alarm clock, right? I use it for like two things. I basically do Netflix, and I might like read a book. But, you know, is that worth $500? I think at this point it's kind of hard to justify that.
I don't know. I use it for work a lot when I'm traveling. It's great to just be able to do Google searches on and pull up ideas for scripts and stories. So I do actually use my iPad.
Right. Yeah, for me it's not powerful enough to be a primary computing device.
Exactly.
Do you know what? The numbers don't lie, though. They've sold 225 million of them.
That's right. Once again, Apple has served us. Take a bite out of that. Over 90,000 Snapchat images were leaked. Hopefully it wasn't yours. Should this serve as a wake-up call to users, Gabrielle?
I think at this point, everyone just has to realize if we're going to take naked photos, eventually they're going to come out onto the internet. The question for me is, do people even care? With the millennial generation, I think we're going to be at a point where every single person has a naked photo that's online and searchable.
Yeah, I might not go that far. So you know, I think you can't really underestimate the tenacity of a hacker, right? So we've seen this many times with banking institutions, with Sony PlayStation Network.
We just saw the big celeb hacking.
Right, the celeb hacking. Yeah, so this is definitely a trend that shows no signs of slowing down. And I think that people are starting to finally understand that the internet is a public place, basically.
You know what? It's not just Snapchat. Like Dropbox was in the headlines this week as well, and like people have got to think about a lot of different stuff. It's like password management tools. It's maybe if it's not even these companies, it could be the apps that are working with them, even unrelated services. It's a big, big mess.
Well, it's a slippery slope. So once you do take the picture, you're putting yourself in a position to be hacked. And even though they're trying to change the laws and the rules about non-consensual pornography, those laws can't keep up with the technology. So don't snap, right? Facebook and Apple are paying for female employees to freeze their eggs. Now, is this completely progressive or kind of creepy, Mike?
So we're pretty big fans of it. I mean, basically, women are severely underrepresented in science and technology right now, and we think that this is a measure that can basically encourage them to pursue careers in that field. You know, is this sort of the end-all solution? Probably not. You know, basically, there should be no reason that a woman should have to choose between her career and her family. This is just one form of enabling them to sort of make that balance, I guess, a little better.
Yeah.
I love this idea given how expensive those procedures are. So it's a really valuable employee benefit. But more of a concern to me is the types of policies that are in place at companies across the United States that enable women to have work-life balance and actually have kids. This puts off having kids, which is great if you're in your late 20s, early 30s, but what about policies that enable you to actually go home and have dinner with your kids?
But there is a little bit of fine print in there, too, because it adds that the maternity leave is longer. There's some other incentives there that make you want to go to Apple or Facebook.
Yeah, and it is an arms race. I mean, these companies are out there looking for the best talent, and if this is going to let them hire the next, you know, Sheryl Sandberg, then away we go. You know?
Maybe this will also cross over into other career paths too, because it's not just tech that's underrepresented. There's a lot of places. Now, an entrepreneur has bought the domain name Ebola.com. Classy move. Is this person capitalizing on a tragic epidemic or being incredibly business savvy, Gab?
I think it's a little bit of both here. There's nothing wrong with taking advantage of an opportunity, and it's not like he's using the domain currently to put out false information about Ebola. If someone purchases this and then actually uses it as a tool to spread necessary information, it could be a real public service. So if he happens to make a buck off of it, I mean, that's his prerogative.
You know what? There is an immunologist out in California who's trying to crowdsource a lot of money to find a cure for Ebola, and I think like that's where my attention is focused on at the moment. Like what he's doing, meh, I'm not thrilled.
Right, you could just do like a Wikipedia search.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is just the product of having a free and open internet, right? So we can't really control what these domain name owners do. You know, at PopSci, we definitely hope that they use it to inform and sort of educate, but Unfortunately, this is just one of the risks of having that freedom.
Right. Well, it's better than the man who's trying to sell Ebola C, which is a vitamin juice that will cure you and prevent you from getting Ebola. So consumer, beware. Now you know what we think. Tell us what you think on Twitter with the hashtag 4for4SciTech.